What's up? Alright, y'all can hear me. That's good. We're off to a good start. I am early, y'all. For me, anyway. Who we got? Hey, Freddy. Hey, Rick. Hey, Edmund. Hey, Jacarius. Happy 60th anniversary to General Hospital, y'all. I donned the sparkly hat for the festivities. I hope y'all are doing well. I've been good, Jacarius. How about you? Oh, you made 3 new videos? Oh, nice. Very nice. I think I saw one of them. You were counting your top 4 favorite characters? I didn't get to watch it yet, but I saw it upload. Hey, Rick. Freddie said, cheers to the longest running daytime drama soap opera of its 60th anniversary, General Hospital. Hooray. Yes. Yes, yes. 11 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't know if I can do it permanently, but I came on early because tonight we're going to recap and then we're going to watch a very old episode of GH that is black and white, but not the first one. In honor of the celebration. You love the hat? Yes, it's the hat. It's the sparkly hat. Sparkly bucket hat. Oh, man. Favorite moment throughout the years? Oh, there's too many, man. There is too many. Hey, Angel. GH should have showed past clips from the past 60 years. They might still. They might still. Technically, the celebration for the 60th starts tomorrow. Because obviously the weekend, they couldn't do it. Thanks, Freddy. Hey, Angel. But yeah, you know, I don't know. It's hard to pick because, like, you could narrow it into, or you can, like, separate it into different categories, like favorite action moment, favorite romance, favorite, you know, sad emotional scene. It's hard to say, you know? You put that notification up real early today. I did. I actually really prepared early because I was like, I want to have everything ready. I want to make sure that I'm on early so that we have time to do what I want to do. So, you know, I wrote all my notes early this afternoon. I set up the live stream like probably around like 4 o'clock or something like that. And then, yeah, made the thumbnail, set up the clip. I got everything done early. It's gonna be the old characters in the background because I could pay the actors. We're gonna be there. It'll be interesting to see, you know, like they managed to keep Emma's return under wraps. So I do have to wonder if there's any other returns that they're keeping quiet from us. I'll give Frank Valentini one thing, is that he's always good at hiding spoilers, far better than any of the previous producers. Have a feeling Victor might kidnap baby Ace and won't even tell Spencer about it. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it, Freddy. I wouldn't doubt it. Oh, man. But yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. Happy 60th anniversary to the cast and crew of General Hospital. Another huge milestone for the show, and we're here to see it, y'all. Thank God for that. But yeah, like I said, we'll be celebrating by watching another classic black and white episode after this week's recap. But I'm pretty stoked to talk to you about this week. There were some good and bad things, you know, we got to admit. Hey, Laura. Good to see you. Maxie mentioned Amy's big mouth this week. Yeah, well, I think she meant, you know, Amy the Second instead of Amy Vining. But yeah, like it for me, and I think we mentioned it on Wednesday's live stream, but it was weird to not see Amy at Epiphany's funeral. Lucy deserves to be still held captive. Yeah, no kidding. Victor already knows they are alive, but damn. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're saving that for last, but yeah, we talking about it today for sure. All right, well, a lot of the gang is here, so I say we get into it. If you guys are ready, let me know, and then we can talk about it. And then once we're done the recap, we can talk about, you know, some of our favorite moments on GH. And then we'll get into the black and white episode if y'all want to stick around for that. I know it's Sunday night, so some of y'all work tomorrow. I actually have the day off, and I didn't plan it that way. I just do. Remember that Lucy used to be a common, so she knows how. Yeah, it's true. May not be here long. 5 a.m. comes fast, but I was reading Laura Hamilton's Smolder and saw the time. I've missed these lives. Aw. I'm glad you're here, at least for a little bit. Oh, Jake says he's ready. Edmund, you're ready? All right. Yeah, it was weird not seeing more hospital staff at Epiphany's funeral. True, true. All right. Freddie, you said, I saw the very first episode of General Hospital on the day of its 60th anniversary. It was my first time watching that episode of the show. I've come a long way. It has, hasn't it? Yeah, we watched the first episode on Wednesday. And you know, we're watching another black and white episode today. It's not from the first year, it's from 1964. You're watching this week's episodes. All right. Okay, let's go. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is Cameron's lackluster goodbye party at Charlie's. When we last left off, Cameron had run into Esme, about to make a run for it from Laura's penthouse, and she actually lets him into the house and sticks around, and they have an interesting conversation about redemption. Cameron tells Esme all about his deceased stepdad, Franco, who is technically Esme's half-brother, which kind of makes Esme his step-auntie, I guess? In all honesty, I kind of forgot about the Franco and Esme connection and family tie. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. Kaiwan, you said, I think most of those guys are off the show. Man, it's hard to say. Yeah, I kind of figured that, like, a lot of people who adored Epiphany would want to be there, you know, whether they're getting paid or not, but they can only have so many people in there, too, and I'm pretty sure there's probably certain protocols still in place. But who knows? We can only... you know, guess at this point. Laura, you said they seem to be chemistry testing Cam and Esme. I wouldn't doubt it. Would not doubt it. Yeah, she would have been Cam's step-aunt. Oh, man. But yeah, in any case, Cameron talks about how Franco stuck around despite being hated by the entire town and how he turned his life around eventually. And in all honesty, if that's the game plan for Esme, I don't know if I want to see it. I mean, at best, Franco's redemption was filled with plot holes. We know this. Things were swept under the rug, and out-of-character acceptances from the people that had wronged him, or that he had done wrong to. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, and while there was definitely a chunk of the audience who ended up loving Franco at the end, there was equally a chunk of the audience who basically got beaten with rewrites into compliancy, because we knew Frank Valentini's favorite actor wasn't going anywhere, and that's the T. You know what I mean? Personally, I was glad that they killed him off. I think it was, you know, way too late to do it. They should have done it way earlier. Elizabeth boys are tall. Yeah, we're gonna talk about them too. Oh man. Monica on the phone with Elizabeth. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that as well. We did talk about it Wednesday, but well, you know, we're obviously gonna get into the recap of Epiphany's episode today too. But yeah, where was I in my notes here? Oh yeah, so I feel like Esme has a lot less of a messy past than Franco did, But if I were Esme, I would just leave Port Charles altogether and start fresh. Not that it would be an easy thing for her to do or pull off at this rate, especially considering, you know, Victor's plans that are still unknown. But we'll get into that later. Cameron actually brings Esme and Ace to his goodbye party, which leaves everyone there feeling some type of way. Mostly awkward and uncomfortable. In Spencer's case, pissed off, as usual. And we'll talk about Spencer, you know, a little later on, too, because I got some things to say about him this week. Roger should have never played Franco. Exactly! I actually did feel so bad for Roger that they made him play Franco, because that was stunt casting at its worst. Laura, you said, I wonder how Franco and Esme would have interacted if he lived. I loved Franco at the end, but he would have been good with Esme. Yeah, I think if Franco was still around, he would be a good person to have in her corner, for sure. Angel, you said Ron Carlivati was on crack when he brought back Franco. I know! Why was Carly's at Tiffany's funeral? That is literally in my notes to Karia's. There was no point in her being there. Rick, you said Roger Howarth has been screwed over by the show too many times. Being Todd, then Franco, then this new character. Yeah, you're right. Chikarius, you said I hated Ron's writing on GH. For me, he basically ruined some of the characters. Had Jason and Sam breaking up, shaking my head. I agree. There's, you know, we've talked about it endlessly on here. I think that Ron Carlivati did a wonderful job with the 50th anniversary year. One Life to Live mess aside. I think that whole year, it really worked in his favor because people want the celebration to be a little bit, you know, camp and nostalgic, and I think he pulled that off. But once that wore off in the 51st year, then, you know, his writing kind of fell off the wagon there. Because he would have had like a Jason type with Franco and Esme. Yeah, you might be right. Ruth, you liked Franco better than Todd Manning? I kind of like Todd Manning better than Franco, but I also don't have, you know, all the knowledge of what his character did before he came to GH. Apart from, I did hear that he raped someone, and, you know, that's all I know. I love when Epiphany kicked Carly out of the hospital in 2012. I don't even remember that. When Carly tried to go to Jason's room. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember that, but that sounds about right. And I didn't even show that in a flashback. More on that later. Okay. But yeah, Cameron really only brought Esme to the party because he had caught her trying to escape and thought it would be best to keep her close. But I absolutely hate that this goodbye party for him ended up being all about Esme. We didn't get to see any special last moments with his friends. They didn't even have his brothers be a part of it, which was truly ridiculous to me. The excuse was that they were going to have like a family get together on the day that he leaves or the morning that he leaves, which we actually do see by the end of the week with Jake and Aiden in tow on screen, who just look more and more grown up every time we see them, because that's how much time passes, you know, between when we see them last and when we see them now. I think people are convinced that recast and Soras are happening with these characters, but no, like that's still the same Jake and same Aiden that we've seen the last couple of years, or a couple of, you know, well, Jake's been around for a lot longer, that actor, but Aiden we've seen since I think 2021, this version of him, and he went through a growth spurt since we last seen him. Oh, to tell him about Robin. Oh, that's right. Freddie, you said, I know a lot of people still think Esme is faking. I don't think she's faking. But now I'm starting to think she really does have it until the writers show us viewers Esme does something strange. Yeah, I don't think that she is faking her memory loss at all. And to be fair, none of the characters do either. I think Joss is still on the fence mostly, and Spencer, I think Spencer and Trina, I think they all believe that she's lost her memory, but it's the fact that she could get her memory back at any moment as to why they don't trust her. And Ava said as such this week as well. Then you have to remember Stan was Sonny's and Jason's tech guy before Spinelli. True. Stan was Epiphany's son. Yeah. R.I.P. Stan. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So let's actually get into Epiphany now. We got to backtrack a little bit to Cameron's goodbye party at Charlie's because Elizabeth was obviously there, and she spent most of the time worrying about losing Epiphany as a friend over her decision to take care of Esme while Nick held her hostage, because she never got a letter from Epiphany. And when the party was over, she called Epiphany's phone, and a state trooper picked up and told her that she passed away. Amazing performance by Becky Herbst, both in that episode and the actual tribute episode, which again we talked about on Wednesday, but we'll get into it here as well because we are recapping the whole week. Who do you think they should put Dex with? Jakey said, I would have thought she got her memory back already. I'm not convinced. Ruth Robinson coming up. General Hospital. Just like the In-N-Out hamburger stand. What? I don't know what you mean. Alright. But yeah, the tribute episode, in my opinion, was beautiful, and it was a wonderful send-off for the character. They had Epiphany dying as a hero, saving someone's life, only to succumb to being infected by the smoke due to her previous heart condition. The character whose life she saved was played by a real-life friend of Sonia Eddy's and pretty well-known actress and comedian Yvette Nicole Brown. It was beautiful, and we got to see Emma and Milo return for it. Again, I wish more people had returned, and there were certain somewhat questionably current cast members missing, like Amy, like I mentioned earlier. But we did get to see Felix and Deanna. Not quite sure why Carly was there. Like I said, Chikarius, I mentioned this in my notes. But yeah, notice how there was no flashbacks of Epiphany and Carly. Pretty much every character, with the exception of Deanna and Emma, had flashbacks involving Epiphany. Even Finn did, you know? Like, I don't know. I can't think of a really, really pivotal moment between Carly and Epiphany, so I don't think she should have even spoke. Like, I wouldn't mind if she was there, like, because Willow wanted to be there and that was the only reason, and she just stayed in the back. Like, they had that whole episode. Sam and Spinelli were in that episode. They didn't say a single word during that episode, right? So they could have had the same treatment for Carly. She did not need to speak up there. Carly and her are friends off outside the TV show. You mean Yvette? Well, I did see an interview where Laura Wright said that she met her for the first time during the shooting of that episode, and that they're friends now. Seen Robin come and go so many times. Yeah, but she couldn't make it for the taping, unfortunately, because of her directing. I know it had to hit the actors hard when they taped Epiphany's tribute episode. Oh, for sure. And then, I don't know if you guys heard this, but one of the producers of GH died. And just like the other day, like a couple days ago. And the cast members were saying that she was the heart and soul of like the behind the scenes of GH. So that's another big loss for them. I think her name was Nika. Chikarius, you said you love Yvette Nicole Brown. She was part of my childhood. I still call her Helen. Nice. Oh man. Sam and Spinelli should have said something. I didn't mind that they didn't. But I feel like they deserved more to speak. Well, I feel like Spinelli maybe deserved to speak more than Carly did for this episode. Because Spinelli and Epiphany have always had a bit of a funny relationship because of Jason. Watch how they get rid of Victor. It will be stupid. We'll see. We'll see. And I don't know if it's going to happen so fast, you guys. But yeah, love that Epiphany went out with a bang, though, by recruiting Liesel in her will to obtain illegal fireworks to set off during her memorial. And of course, all the flashbacks that we've seen of Epiphany. But for me, the most tear-jerking moment, and I cried throughout this whole episode. We talked about that. I was a mess. But the one part that broke me about this episode, and yes, Nanika Garland, thank you, Chikarius. But yeah, the one thing that got me the most about this episode was Monica calling Elizabeth, stating that she had received Epiphany's letter and that and then she read it to her. And we got to hear Leslie Charleston's voice. And Epiphany wanted Elizabeth to be the head nurse, which I know is getting mixed thoughts due to Elizabeth's questionable choices, professionally and personally. But the way I see it, Lisa Lobrecht and Britt Westbourne both became chief of staff of this hospital, and they were known criminals in cons, so it kind of checks out for GH. But yeah, honestly, that moment with Leslie Charleston broke me into pieces. I bawled my eyes out, y'all, and then they wrapped it with Epiphany singing "You're Not Alone," and oh, I was a mess. I was a royal mess, you guys. Oh my goodness. Favorite Epiphany moments, Jakarius? I mean, anytime Epiphany told the staff to smarten up. Epiphany standing up to anyone that was, kind of a shitty person was always fun. Wish Jason was at the funeral. Yeah, that is one piss off, because I think Jason and Epiphany probably had one of the best friendships on screen. And it was authentic because they've been through so much together, you know what I mean? Oh Lord. And plus Stan worked for Jason and Sonny, so I do wish he was there for it. And also Steve Burton adored Sonia Eddy, and he posted his own tributes when she passed away, so it's unfortunate that the character couldn't be there. Oh, Kaiwani said that explains why Monica's not on the shelf. International. Big data off the screen? Well, she was a keynote speaker somewhere, right? That was why Monica explained her absence? Or how Monica explained her absence? Freddie, you said, I can't wait to see what the GH writers cook up for the drama at the Nurses' Ball. I'm really curious, and I'm also really worried, but we'll get into that in a second. Ruth, you said, I disagree that if they could get rid of Victor, it would be freaking brilliant. Oh, I want them to get rid of Victor quickly, because it's been years of his nonsense, but I just don't think it's going to be this fast, like that it'll end before the Nurses' Ball ends, There's still too many parts of the story that we got to wrap up beyond, this mess with the Ice Princess. Kaiwani said you didn't really like Epiphany, but you did like the part where her son died. That was very heartbreaking. Honestly, that storyline was so sad to see too, and really I want to say that was really Epiphany's first major storyline on the show, was Stan's death, because she'd been around and she's she was the head nurse and she was doing her thing in the hospital, but those were like the first moments that we've seen Epiphany do anything outside of the hospital. They had her, having her friends try to circle around her, the staff trying to take care of her, and she refused to let them do it, because that's just who Epiphany is. She's the caretaker. No one takes care of her. You love Jason and Epiphany's friendship too. Really appreciated Milo being there. Milo, you know what? Milo broke me as well. Like, right after his flashback, the actor, when he, was crying, I felt like that was real tears. I really did. Oh, you love the You're Not Alone song. It was good. Angel, you said, I want to keep Victor. He's a good villain like Ryan. Heather can go. I mean, Heather's gone for now, but she'll always pop in and out. You know how they do on GH with Heather. I mean, Victor, listen. And I say this about all the villains. I think no villain should be sticking around for long periods of times. I think that they need to come and go. I think they need to, storm into town, wreak havoc, and then have, their story arc for, a few months. Have the good guys win, but in a way that can bring the character back down the road. You know what I mean? Those are the best villains to me. Do you mean Milo, Jakarius? Stan's death was how we found out Epiphany was Stan's mother. No, we knew before because on Night Shift Season 1, Stan was around the hospital and driving Epiphany nuts. And it was established that he was her son as well back then. No, it was a known fact that Stan was Epiphany's son. I think because there was 2 actors that played Stan. When I think his name was Kiko or Kilo, the second actor that played Stan. That's when it was established that Stan was Epiphany's son. Brooklyn, you said Jennifer Lopez's ex, dancer, and boyfriend will be the lead dancer at the nurses' ball? Interesting. I mean, I don't... I do remember her dating one of her dancers, and I'm assuming that's who you're talking about, Brooke. But I can't really remember, like, what he looks like. Jakey said, for real, Helena was never this unbearable. Yeah, like Helena never overstayed her welcome. She came in with a bang and she'd exit with a bang. You know what I mean? She'd disappear into the ether and no one really knew what happened to her, and then eventually she'd just come back and wreak more havoc. And that's how I feel like the best villains are handled on the show. Stan is that in continuity Night Shift. Yeah, Stan was in season 1 of Night Shift. And he interacted with Toussaint a lot as well. And I think by the time Night Shift came around, I don't think Stan was really working for Sonny and Jason anymore, because Spinelli was already there. And Stan was kind of becoming more of an activist. Do you mean Helena, Kaiwan? If you mean Helena, the character is dead now. But I would say she's probably in her 80s, or she was in her 80s. I mean, we could just make her the same age as Constance Towers. At this point. I mean, Edward was like 100 when he died. The character. Ryan came in and died the stupid way like Faison. Yeah, I mean, to me it made sense that they killed him, but it was so random. And he went out pretty pathetically considering it's Ryan. What was Stan being an activist for? I don't remember. It had something to do with the hospital though. Because he was protesting outside of the hospital, and Epiphany was not impressed by that at all. But yeah, I can't recall what it was. Something, maybe low pay for nurses? I don't know. I have no idea. It's been too long since I've watched it. One of these days we'll have to have like a Night Shift month. Constance is 90 or will be 90 this year. Dang! And she's aged so gracefully too. Alright, okay, since we're kind of talking about Victor anyway, let's talk about the storyline happening with Victor right now, because we getting into it. So, basically, the 80s legends plan to take Victor down went up in a glorious flame, unfortunately, thanks to an all-too-eager Eileen. As you guys know, Anna and Valentine got Eileen to bring Victor a fake Ice Princess necklace with a fake code so they could find out what Victor was going to do with it. She discovered that Victor had Mikos' encryption key that would have helped crack the code, essentially. And Victor made Eileen stick around to witness it, but of course it didn't work. And he got suspicious, and she actually convinced him that maybe Mikos betrayed him, which was believable, let's be honest. But, you know, she could have left it by that, or left it at that, by the way. But since she knew the key to ending this nightmare with Victor is that encryption key, she tried to take matters into her own hands by snagging it when Victor was in the other room. And in all honesty, she probably could have gotten away with it if she grabbed it and dipped, but for some reason she stayed there, which was so stupid. Victor clearly figured out that she snatched it and took her to the bridge, got her to confess what's going on, and she admitted that Valentine and Anna and Lucy were all alive and in town and what their plan was, and he even got her to call them in front of him and state that she was leaving town, just so he could confirm that they were, in fact, alive and she wasn't lying. And then, as soon as she hung up, Victor threw her off the edge of the bridge, and she died. And we know she died because she washed up to shore a couple days later where Dex and Sunny happened to be. Turns out Sunny was in on the plan all along as well, since it was a safe house they were hiding in. Honestly, I did recognize that it was Sunny's safe house, but I figured it was just soap opera budget striking again, so I kind of like, you know, pushed it out of my head. Victor got everybody by the balls. Anna and Valentine are losing. Unfortunate. Lynn Herring is a good actor. I agree. The dog thing was crazy. That's why I mentioned it. Oh yeah, Drew mentioning that she had a dog to take care of. That was a bit of a corny whatever, but I mean, they had to basically suspect that Eileen might have been killed somehow. Victor should stay dead. Yeah, you know, Obrecht shot him point blank and then he was left in an exploding building. That man should have been dead. But yeah, anyway, Laura got Sunny to go warn them about what was happening so that they could prepare to hide somewhere else. And if this situation wasn't already bad enough for them, Lucy also happens to escape the safe house again because she panicked when she heard an interviewer talk to Maxie about one of the dancers having to pull out of the Magic Milo and the Wands act. To be honest, I actually think it's Milo that pulled out. I know I said that like it's confirmed that he's performing because I mentioned it so much, but the fact that they're leaving it quiet that Milo is not there, or like who the mystery person that backed out is, it's just interesting. But yeah, Lucy went to the Metro Court and asked Maxie who dropped out and who she was going to replace him with, and Lucy actually suggested Mac. Dead ass. I am 100% on board with this. I agree with Lucy. Mac is a daddy, okay? He is a silver fox, and I would not hate seeing him in his undies. I'm not even going to front. With that said, I don't think it's going to be him, by the way. That is the nicest looking body that had been floating into the water the last couple of days. Eileen looked so fresh. She did. Considering she was supposedly having so many broken bones as well. Drew needs to go back to Hallmark and bring another Drew. Oh my goodness. To be honest, before you mentioned J-Lo's ex-dancer, I honestly thought Cameron Matheson would be the one to replace him. Or replace whatever dancer dropped out. We need Magic Milo back. Freddie said the only way to take Victor down is Anna or Valentine to shoot Victor at least 2 or 3 times to make sure he's dead this time. Oh, just a headshot, you guys. Oh, the nurse is bawling about you. Do you mean Lucy? Ricky said Drew was boring on All My Children and GH. He should stick with Hallmark Channel. Eileen, we hardly knew you. Dion, who would I like to see be a part of the Magic Milo segment? I mean, in a perfect world, it would be Milo. For me, Mac, but that's just my bias. But like, Dex, because he got a body, and he is going to be in that, by the way. Maxie would have to cover her eyes if Mac performed. True. Laura, you said Mac would have been great. Replacement as a magic wand. I'm surprised Maxie didn't try to press Michael into doing it again. Though it wasn't very good the first time. Mac would have been better. Yeah. Okay, where was I? So Milo, Dex. I think Curtis would be, and I think he's done the Magic Milo act before. Cody, he's gonna be in it too. Chase, but we know he's not gonna be in it, but not in the Magic Milo act anyway. But it would be good to see him there too. Maybe even Dante, because we never see him do anything fun anymore. John J. York is in his late 50s and 60s, and he's a silver fox. I said what I said. He is smoking hot. John York is hot. He was hot back then. He's hot now. Anyway, though, bottom line is one of Victor's men spotted Lucy when she went over to the Metro Court and told Victor. So she's basically going to lead Victor right to that safe house. Hopefully they get out of there fast and come up with a plan. For some reason, everyone thinks that they somehow convincing Spencer to go against Victor would be a good idea. But Spencer is hell-bent on doing whatever it takes to get his baby brother out of Esme's clutches and is willing to work with Victor to do so. They haven't approached Spencer yet. Like, I think Sonny is on his way to do that. But I guess depending on the choice that Spencer makes, when Sonny does approach him, it's going to prove something that earlier on the week Marshall wanted to see out of Spencer. Before Spencer and Trina went to Cameron's goodbye party, Marshall and Spencer had a talk about being the man that Trina deserves, and Spencer seemed sincere in wanting to change, and this would be his chance to prove it, honestly. You know, to put his own greed aside in favor of, like, the greater good, you know what I mean? Yeah, Marshall even walked in on Spencer and Trina kissing, which was pretty funny. I actually like that they're slowly but surely letting this couple be a couple. You think the Rain is better than AJ? Do you mean Eileen? Are they bringing back the Haunted Starlights? I don't know. Chase is going to perform with Blaze. Would love them as a couple. Blaze is gorgeous. I like the character of Blaze. She's not doing much, and I hope that we get to see her kind of just be around the show even after this Link mess is over with. The show is on life support with all our lame storylines. I actually like a lot of the storylines right now, to be honest, Rick. I don't think the show's on life support. Oh. Spencer like AJ? I hope they don't write him like AJ. Let's not make him a disappointment. But yeah, obviously we're heading into the Nurses Ball for the 60th anniversary. All week we've seen Lucy driving Maxie crazy before she went to the Metro Court, just while Maxie's trying to get things done. We have last-minute recruits into the ball, like Jocelyn and Trina, who are going to do a number together. Dex was convinced to be one of the wands in the dancing act, which was when Dex ran into Joss and Trina during rehearsals. Trina figured out that Joss and Dex are an item. She said that she's got her back, and, you know, Joss is her girl, Cameron's her friend, but, you know, she doesn't know that Joss slept with Dex before she broke up with Cameron, so I do wonder how she'd feel if she knew the whole truth. Nicholas alleged on with Esme and Spencer's alleged baby brother until I see them do a DNA test. Because ain't no telling Esme could have slept with anyone, any man off screen. Yeah, you're not wrong. Not wrong. But they never did a DNA test with Nell either, did they? Nell and Nina. We just have that necklace to go by. But yeah, anyway, this better be the best damn Nurses Ball ever, because if it fizzles, then this whole 60th anniversary will kind of be embarrassing, you know what I mean? And I don't want that. I want the show to have an amazing 60th year. And if it kicks off with something lackluster, it won't give me much hope for the rest of the year. Because, you know, I want GH to celebrate the 60th year for the whole period of it. From April 1st of this year to April 1st of next year. You know, I want something big and glorious. I think Spencer will be jealous of Dex because he slept with Jocelyn. That's my theory. I don't know. I don't see Spencer having feelings for Joss. They're not gonna ruin like the only super couple that they like. I'm calling Trina and Spencer a super couple only because they seem to be fully invested in these two as a couple more than the rest. And I don't see them ruining that with Joss at all. That'd be stupid. Spencer has never shown signs of having feelings for Jocelyn since he was a kid. And even then, it was like he mildly tolerated her, but like was really in love with like Emma. Supposed to be a tragedy at the Nurses Ball. Guess we'll find out. Oof. But yeah, I don't read the spoilers. I like to be surprised. The only time I'll like pay attention to spoilers is like casting news. Right into the show like back then in the 80s. They don't have the budget for that. That's the problem. They could tell larger than life storylines back then because they had the budget for it. You know what I mean? I think considering what budget they have now, I think they're doing a pretty decent job with, you know, the stories. It's just there's certain ways they lack in the follow through of storylines, but like on paper, all these storylines are okay. Has feelings for Joss but wants Trina because she's exotic. No, I don't see that. He's never shown that he has feelings for Joss since he was a kid. See, DG knows. They don't have the budget to do stories like in the 80s. I said what I said. Spencer and Joss almost ended up being raised together as siblings. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Spencer sees Joss as like a sister more than you know, someone he has feelings for. Sometimes I watch old episodes of Santa Barbara and I'm like, where's the money going? I never watched Santa Barbara. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that GH does an alright job. And like I said, with Spencer and Trina, they have a big fan base. Like, I don't know if y'all saw, but the fan base put them up in Times Square in New York. Spencer and Trina on a billboard. Like, that's insane. Like, when have people reacted to a soap couple that crazily? You know what I mean? They're not gonna mess with Spencer and Trina by having Spencer have feelings for someone else. That would be like show suicide at this point. Plus, like, Spencer and Trina were even on the cover of People for GH's 60th anniversary. YNR is better than GH now. I don't watch it, but aren't they celebrating their 50th anniversary? Sabrina has a big fan base. They really do. Triangle will be Spencer, Esme, and Trina because Spencer wants the baby. He may end up even marrying Esme. Yeah, like, I can see that, DG. Like, but I don't, like, Spencer's not going to have feelings for Esme. You know what I mean? But I think that you're right in the sense that they could marry just for them to keep Ace. Oh, you think feelings will reemerge though? I don't know. I really don't know. I think because of the way that he knows Esme played him, I don't see him like recovering from that. And also I mean Spencer lost interest in Esme like the second Spencer got to town and started looking at Trina, you know what I mean? So Esme was an afterthought even before they broke up. Did the fan base pay for the Times Square ad? Yeah, I'm assuming they did. Because I think it was fans that were posting about it. So it had to have been them. I don't think it was anyone else. Why our stories are ridiculous and the show moves far too slowly. Josh Griffith is a terrible writer. Y'all play nice with each other. But yeah, like I said, I know nothing about YNR's storylines. I know that they're celebrating their 50th year, and apparently the network is doing a lot more for them than they are doing for GH. But I mean, GH is on its 60th year. They did go really big for the 50th year for GH as well, in all fairness. I don't think 60 is as big of a milestone per se, but it's the fact that GH is still standing after 60 years and is the longest running soap in North America that deserves, that deserves to be celebrated, I think. So I wish that they would invest more. Sunny's been everywhere. Maurice Benard has been on The View and a couple of other shows this week. Fanola's been on some ABC talk shows. Laura Wright and Josh Swickard were both being interviewed on certain networks as well. All right. Anyway, the only things I don't really have much left or much more notes in my recap. But the only thing I can really mention, we got to see a bit of Willow. She's having her treatment supposedly the day after the nurses' ball. She was getting ready to watch the nurses' ball with Michael in the living room, and she had a bit of a dizzy spell or something while Nina was there, and Carly tried to attack her for it. And then Nina and Carly had an interesting conversation about life with Sunny, because Carly can get the sense that Nina is not really digging the danger that's surrounding Sunny, and Carly's pretty happy about it. It makes me wonder if they're gonna have Carly have feelings for Sunny again, which is, it's what Sunny and Carly do. Carly was giving him some looks during Epiphany's funeral as well. Think why they put Joss and Dex together, because Sabrina is more popular than them. Probably. I think honestly, I feel like they wanted to push Dex and Joss, but turns out Sabrina's pretty liked, and Frank's no dummy. He can see that. That's why he's pushing them so hard. And I like them. I do like Sabrina. I can see their appeal. I think that they have decent chemistry. I feel like Nicholas had better chemistry with Sydney. But him and Tabiana are doing a great job and work well with each other too. And I think they do a good job at hamming it up off screen. The fan interactions I've seen with them, anytime they've done videos or pictures together, they're hamming it up. They're loving it. I think they know the power of Sabrina as actors. Whereas I think, when you think about Luke and Laura, I don't think that they realized that they were lightning in a bottle until, you know, they stepped out and seen kind of, you know, the popularity kind of ooze off screen. And back in the day when there was no social media to kind of assess that, right? They only had like fan letters and such. DG said, I think Dex and Joss have way more chemistry and the storyline potential is so much better. Like, listen, I think that they do have chemistry, but all they do is have sex. They're not, they don't have a story. They're just having sex. Like, and like, yeah, there's storyline potential, but they're not really going with it. You know? Like, I get it. It's very, like, Joss and Dex on paper is very star-crossed lovers. She hates Sunny's lifestyle. Dex is working for Sunny, and she's falling for him. And yeah, he's like working to bring him down, but at the end of the day, like he's seeing the good in Sunny, and he feels like he's in Sunny's debt because Sunny saved his life. The show should really move on from Sunny and Carly. I agree with you 100%. Laura Wright has aged so much better than Maurice. That's mean. I think Maurice is still a very handsome guy. I think they're both aging gracefully, to be honest. Laura and Robert need better storylines. They do, but I do appreciate that we see them as much as we do. I'd like to see Robert on a little bit more. But Laura's everywhere, you know what I mean? Like, she's the mayor of Port Charles. She's involved in, you know, of course, the Victor stuff. But also, you see her being the friend, the grandmother, you know, like, the mother hen to the hospital. Like, they've got Laura everywhere. And I think this is, since Jeannie's last return, they've treated the character with a lot more respect than what they used to. And I think that's a testament to the fans, because we were pretty damn vocal when they fired her the last time. I don't agree. I think, what story do they have though, DG? They're just having sex. What's their story? Like, all they're doing is having sex. They don't even know anything about each other. They said as such, and they're not even like trying to. They just hooking up. That's not a story. That's just, like, teenage hormones. Freddie said, Ava, girl, when Laura and Spencer find out what you did to Nicholas, even though it was a good reason, because he threatened to take Avery away from you, but the fact that you lied to them. Yeah, but, you know, Nicholas is alive. So, like... She don't know that, but like she knows what's his name? Mason. She knows that Mason knows. And that's something else I forgot to put in my notes. Thank you. Ava has been talking to Felicia, who's kind of fishing on, you know, why was Austin at Windermere for you? And she invites Austin as her date to the nurses' ball. You got that right. Jeannie's first return under Frank was terrible. They treated her like dirt and kept her on the back burner. Yeah, it was wrong. I couldn't believe it. Like, and it seemed so weird, right, DG? Because like it was like the mayor storyline, like running for mayor, right? And then out of nowhere, they just like fired her mid storyline. It made no sense. And then she went off to like take care of Spencer. Like, who had a skiing accident. Like, it made no sense. I don't know why they fired her. Kaiwan. Oh my god. Brooklyn, you said it would have been better to put Dex with Christina. I think Dex and Christina have more chemistry than Dex and Joss. And they've barely shared scenes together. They should bring back that one actor when Tyler left the first time? Do you mean like bring back Tyler as Nicholas? Y'all constantly trying to bring politics onto this chat. That's why I ignore it. Like, we're talking about a soap opera here. Leave it. Alright. But anyway, that's all my notes, guys. So, we did that in like an hour. We killed that. And so, the game plan, well, actually, before we move on to watching the black and white clip, we'll spend, a few minutes. I'm curious for about you guys. I want to know everyone's favorite couple of all time on the show and why you like them. I want to know your favorite action-packed storyline in all the years that you've watched. And I want to know, good night, Brooklyn. And I want to know, favorite current couple and favorite current storyline. And I'll share all of mine too. Oh, Ava's conversation with Esme. You're right, Edmund. Okay, before we get... You guys can answer my questions, but yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I loved Ava's conversation with Esme, because she put her on notice. She was like, I believe that you lost your memory, but you could get it back, and when you do, nothing will save you. Ava put Esme on notice, and Esme was like shocked, because Esme's trying to be like somewhat of a wallflower. Like, I want to redeem myself, and maybe she does, but she can't ever fully be trusted by anyone here, because her memory could come back. That's the reality of the situation with Esme, is that it could come back. It might not ever, but it's always going to be on the back of people's minds. And I'm glad that Ava had that conversation with Esme, because, Cameron kind of approached Esme in you can redeem yourself kind of way, but it's not that black and white as it was for Franco. And even with Franco, it wasn't really black and white. It's just, we ain't even going to talk about the redemption mess that was with Franco. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and that was enough. But yeah. Okay, what were my questions again? Oh, okay. So, I want to know your guys' favorite couples of all times. Favorite action-packed story. And then favorite current couple and favorite current story. For me, oh, Angel, you said, okay, well, okay, I'll say mine and then I'll read yours. Okay, so for me, favorite couple of all time. Oh, that's so hard. That's so hard. Because I like so many for so many different reasons. I'm torn. So, OG Luke and Laura of the 80s, they were the super couple. You can't beat them in terms of how many people tuned in specifically for them. I think that they had amazing storylines. They changed how daytime was written, and their storylines were phenomenal. Even though some were, you had to extend your belief a little bit, but I loved the Luke and Laura 80s era. And honestly, a lot of the super couples of the 80s, Robert and Holly, Robert and Anna, Sean and Tiff, there's so many good couples. Frisco and Felicia. So many good couples in the 80s. And they were all larger than life, and the kind of relationships that we'd want, that were just so, you know, like so crazy in love and so like filled with adventures and drama and high stakes, but like in a fun way. And then favorite action storyline of all time for me would be oh man, okay, I'm gonna say the Aztec storyline, which we watched together, right? We watched that together for a while. I love that storyline. It was so cool, and you know, we had all the biggest couples of the 80s involved in that story. Luke and Laura, Frisco and Felicia, Robert and Holly, all together. What a wild story. I loved it from start to finish. And then current favorite couple? It's hard. Current favorite couple? I mean, I love the potential of Spencer and Trina, but they're not quite there yet for me. And even Dex and Jocelyn have potential, in my opinion. I don't disagree with that at all. But oh man, I don't know, y'all. Favorite current couple? I mean, I like Lucy and Martin a lot. But like Mac and Felicia, as little as we see them, I love their relationship. And then, yeah, I don't know. The reality is, for me, no couple currently on canvas can compare to any couple from yesteryear. You know what I mean? You know, I like a lot of them together. I like Laura and Kevin, but they're not Luke and Laura. I like the potential of Robert and Diane. I will say that. They play well off of each other, and I'm rooting for them. But I'm also rooting for Robert and Holly to get back together too, if she comes back. And then, you know, and again, I like Trina and Spencer, and I like Joss and Dex, but you know, it's just early days. Too hard to tell. Then current favorite storyline is honestly, now that it's picking up speed, Victor versus the 80s gang, just because of the nostalgia of it all. Love it. Love it. Alright, now I'm going to read some of y'all's answers. Okay. Let's go back. We got to scroll up a lot. Okay. Angel, you said Jason and Sam from back in the day. Just written so well. Second was Nicholas and Emily because of their fairy tale romance. Rooting for Spencer and Trina, but GH, well, I don't want to get too excited. Fair. DG, you said Rick and Leslie are your number one. Really? I love them too. Number one couple of all time because they were both honorable characters who made mistakes, and the actors were tremendous together. Yeah, they really did have great chemistry. I hate that they sabotaged Rick's character in the early 2000s the way that they did. They did him dirty, man. Kaiwan, you have no favorite current couple. Basically, any of the couples you see decide to turn off. Lots of action storylines in the 80s. Too many to pick, right, Rick? Man, they were all good. The Ice Princess, the Aztec Adventure, the Mount. What was it? The Mount. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The Mountain Adventure with Anna and Robert. The like President Mountain. I forget the name of it. I'm so sorry. I'm from Canada. Forgive me. Mount Rushmore. The Mount Rushmore Adventure of the 80s was super cool as well. And like the Asian Quarter storyline was great too. The only is like Michael, and now that's why I don't actually. Michael, what? DG, you said favorite action story would be Luke and Laura on the run. Yeah, that was a dope story. The left-handed boy. The Cassadine thing was fun, but too cartoonish with the weather machine and all. Yeah, it is. That is corny, and you're right. I think it was acceptable because it was the 80s, to be honest. And that's, for me, like, everything was a bit wild in terms of, like, sci-fi in the 80s, you know what I mean? So I feel like with that in my mind, it was easy for me to kind of, like, roll with it when I watched that story. Jacarius, Jason and Sam were your favorite couple. Favorite action storyline for you, Angel, was any mob storyline you like. The Alcazars and the Zakaras, or like action, the Metro Court Hostage Crisis. I loved the Metro Court Hostage Crisis. I feel like the Metro Court Hostage Crisis was the best action storyline from like the 2000s era, for sure. Nell and Michael was your favorite, really? I just think Michael with that, so abused by his mother, so mentally trained to his mother. Oh, Angel, you don't have a favorite current storyline. That's upsetting. Jakari said Jason and Sam were as the modern Bonnie and Clyde. DG, you said I think most couples today are very weak, but I like Dex and Joss. They're a poor man's Jason and Liz. Oh my god. No, I know you're a Liaison fan, DG. I do think that Dex and Joss have better potential than Jason and Liz ever did. But we'll agree to disagree. Oh, best villains. That's a good question. My favorite villain of all time is Helena Cassadine, for sure. But it's easy to categorize the villains too, because there's like those like big bads like the Helenas and the Phazons, and like the chaotically evil. But then there's like the mobster evil, and I think in terms of the mobsters, Anthony Zakara and Manny Ruiz were my two favorite villains of the mob villains. My favorite GH friendship, for me, Laura and Robert, because their friendship has stood the test of times. They stayed remaining friends. Same with Anna and Felicia, and Robert and Anna. I love their friendship because they were lovers, but they now kind of have that like brother sister kind of hate to love each other relationship, and I love that stood the test of time too. And I'm really digging Robert and Diane's budding friendship and maybe romance. And I like Sam and Spinelli's friendship too. Phazon, Cassadines. 80% of spawn. Spencer and Jocelyn is gonna happen. Kaiwan, I will bet you $100. No, I won't. I'll bet you something that it's not gonna happen. I give it 3 years and it's not gonna happen. Freddie, you don't have a favorite couple, but I do have a favorite action storyline. Metro Core Hostage Crisis, iconic. GH did a wonderful job with that storyline. Robert and Anna and Luke and Laura. That is so true. No couple today compares to any of the classics. It's true. It's just the reality of the situation. I think GH was a lot more fearless in investing in the couples that they wanted to write for. Now there's kind of like all this kind of bureaucratic things going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? When it comes to couple, like, yeah, they're always testing chemistry with actors, but there's so much. It seems like there's so much red tape when it comes to how couples are written. There's too many hands in the cookie jar. destroying Rick's character was the worst thing Bob Goose ever did. Agreed. I don't really watch this age for the action shows. I watch for the darker. Oh, okay. Ironically, Guza turned Tony Jones into a kidnapper, and that worked out great. Oh, they're going to try again for the third time. Bring back the weather machine. Yeah, but at least it coincides with the anniversary, so I can handle that bit of camp. You know what I mean? 40 million stars. Michael and Nell, you only liked. Oh, DG, you think that the best action story of the 2000s was the toxic water plot? I didn't hate that story, but it was far from my favorite. But what I loved about it was the location shoot, though. More so than the actual plot. Last one, Faison's son with Alex, how he died was funny. Oh, you're not? Oh, you weren't a Liaison fan. You were more into Lucky and Liz. I loved Lucky and Liz, too. Best storyline in the 90s, for sure. Oh, the cartel. Yeah, I didn't get to see as much of that storyline. I am curious about it. It was on YouTube at one point. I don't know if it still is. But I never got to watch it. Helena's your favorite villain? Fave female villain Robin Mattson as Heather Weber, hands down. Anthony Zakar was crazy. Yes, he was. Do you like the Alexa storyline? To me, the mob villains were corny and weak, except for Alcazar. Ted King is a phenomenal actor. Ted King was a great actor, yeah. He's the only one who would really go toe-to-toe with Maurice. True. I always thought Faison was kind of a joke. Anders Hove was a great actor. DG mob storylines. Too many in this century. 30 years worth. That's enough. I feel like they don't write couples that I like. Frank Smith was the best mob story because he was just a catalyst for conflict. The writers didn't try to make you root for Frank. Yes, exactly. See, the mob storylines of the 80s far, far better than the mob storylines that have happened since. Because they were never shown as the good guys or the heroes. It wasn't like mobster versus mobster. It was mobster versus, you know, the town and the greater good. Second favorite 80s adventure story, Grant Putnam and the DVX Prometheus disc story. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but it did look cool. Lucky and Liz were cute until they ruined. Yeah. Lucky and Liz is my all-time favorite younger couple ever. JJ and Becky were perfect together, and the story was so pure. Yeah, Jonathan Jackson and Becky really had amazing chemistry. And it was unfortunate, like, we got Jonathan back, and the chemistry was still there, but man, like, she was in the midst of the affair with Nicholas, and it just, they imploded, like, crazily. It was, you know, it was sad to watch. I do like the favorite villains were... who's the doctor that always bothered the other doctors? Who's upset? Faith Roscoe. The only storyline I've ever liked centered around Alexis was the mystery of Alcazar's death when she... the first Alcazar. What was his name? Luis? When she tossed him off the balcony. I do remember that. I remember the montage of him, like, falling off of the roof. And how it was like this mystery, because I think Brenda was a suspect, Jason was a suspect. I don't even think Alexis was a suspect at first, because she's the one that, like, she walked up on Luis Alcazar's body on top of the car and screamed, and I think she's the one that called the police. So I didn't watch that full story, but I imagine that it played out for shock value. I feel like Alexis wasn't like an easy guess. Forgot about Faith. Yeah, Faith Roscoe was deadly. Grant Putnam and Anna Devane kept GH number 1 even after Luke and Laura left. Like I said, I've seen bits and pieces of it. He seemed like a psychopath. And like, I don't know, like, because I watched a little of it, I don't know why Grant held Anna hostage. You'll have to school me on that storyline one day, or if it's up there, I will totally watch it on my days off. All right, guys, but before it gets too late, we're gonna finish off this live stream with a classic episode of GH. It's from 1964. It involves Steve and Audrey, and I think it's only their scene, so it's like 17 minutes long. It's not the full episode, but the full episode was like 30 minutes long anyway. But yeah, you know, Steve and Audrey essentially were the first power couple. I don't want to call them super couple, because that wasn't really a term yet. But it was the couple everyone was rooting for. And they're the first, you know, really well-known couple on GH. And they stood the test of time. Till death did they part. And, you know, John York, he started GH. Audrey wasn't his first love, but obviously he loved her quickly enough to propose to her in, you know, a year after the show started. So we were talking about on Wednesday how I didn't know exactly when Audrey came in, and then I found these scenes after. I was like, oh, okay, like a year later. As long as Nina doesn't do anything stupid, Willow might be more open to a mother-daughter relationship, but I doubt it, because you never know with Nina still behind. But we'll see what happens. You're right, Freddie. Like, I do want them to have a good relationship, but I want Nina to grow the F up. You know what I mean? And Carly. Both of them need to just sit down, take several seats. They're putting their own pettiness with each other over Willow at this point. It's so stupid. It took Steve and Audrey over a decade to get together and stay together. They married 3 times. Did they? Oh my gosh. Gosh, that's so funny. Audrey married 2 other guys. Well, I guess it wouldn't be GH if these couples weren't, you know, a mess. A hot mess. But, you know, in the end, they got together, and then eventually they stayed together until death did they part. They went through a lot together, you know? Steve and Audrey's story started in 63, and they got married for the last time in 77. 14 years. Dang. How do you know all this, DG? I feel like you and Brooklyn know more about GH than anybody I've ever talked to. Which I love, because, you know, like, in my family, everyone's like, oh, you're, like, the all-knowing. I'm like, I'm really not. You should see some of the people that I chat with on here. Alright, but yeah, I'm gonna mute this mood music. And I'm going to put forth, oops, make it full screen, I think. I hope. Oh. I think I messed that up a little bit, guys. Sorry. Am I still too big? I feel like I'm still too big. There we go. All right. Let's watch this together, y'all. And let me know how the audio is.
I can't let you do this. You can tell Mr. Longworth that I won't be at General Hospital, even for one more day.
Audrey.
Steve, this is my decision, and it is definite. Sorry it didn't work out. Thank you for trying.
Audrey, please don't go.
Oh, you've been watching since 1969? Damn. I think that was around the time my grandmother started watching, too. I love the organs. The nurses' caps, yeah. I like that they usually have the nurses, during the nurses' ball, wear those caps too. It's like a nice little throwback. Look at the hospital
Sorry,
set,
Dr.
y'all.
Hardy. Have you been waiting long?
Oh, good morning, Jessie.
Nurse Jessie.
No, I've been waiting too. Jessie, will you come into my office when you're free?
Yes, I'll be right in.
Wasn't born yet when this aired. My mom would have been one. Almost
I heard
one.
Anne talking to Chris about it the other day.
We were all aware that Dr. Hardy was waiting in the station.
Oh, no, Mrs. Brewer.
Well, he was. Now, what's the matter?
Well, we were just wondering about Audrey March. She didn't come into work today. Isn't she
Watched
going
Luke
to
and
come
Laura
in?
one time in the
I
summer of
don't really know about that.
1980.
Is that Dr. Hardy's coffee?
Yes, it is.
We'll take it in.
Oh, thank you.
Will you please be sure there's somebody in the station at all times?
John
ma'am.
Thank you.
Bernardino was so handsome and distinguished. Yeah, he was a good-looking gentleman. And he had this air about him, you know? He seemed so regal and, like, everything that you would think a doctor should be in terms of, like, how he cared for his patients. By the way, how's the sound, guys? It's not going to be great because just the quality of the episode itself, but can you at least hear it somewhat properly?
Thank you.
Welcome. Audrey isn't coming into work today. Is that what's bothering you?
She was in my office.
I really missed the
yesterday when
medicine
Mr.
room even
Longworth
today, and
called.
Jesse
I
Brewer.
tried not to let her know that
Emily
it was about
McLaughlin was
her,
my
but
favorite.
she gets
Did they... I feel like someone might have
Well,
mentioned
she
this
knows
on
that
Wednesday,
there's no
but
nursing
did
back
they acknowledge the
I
character or
certainly
the
didn't
actress's
want to know
death?
that.
Of course.
DG, do you know?
Then when I hung up, she simply said that
I
if
feel
the
like they did, but I
administration
don't know.
opposed her coming back, she would solve the whole thing by not coming
Wish the
back.
anniversary episode was about how to get money
Oh, I tried to
to
talk her
open
out
up
of it,
GH.
but she said
Yeah,
her
they don't talk
decision
about
was
how GH
final.
opened. Maybe we'll hear about it at the nurses' ball.
I think it was the right decision, Steve. And I
John
respect
never
you for
broke
making
character.
it.
He really seemed like a real doctor. Sounds good? Okay, thank
I don't
you.
mind saying, Jesse, I feel pretty lousy about it. Somehow I should have managed things better.
Well, you certainly tried, and it was impossible. Actually, Steve, it would have been a lot worse if she'd come back and there'd been trouble. For you and for her.
Jesse, Audrey's a qualified nurse, and I'm responsible for this
Thanks, Freddie.
department. I'd go to bat for her, but there's nothing I could do now. She's got my hands tied.
You know why, Steve, because she was afraid of making more trouble.
I tell you, Jesse, she's had about as much rejection as she can take. I don't know what she'll do now.
She knew there were problems before. This can't be a complete surprise to her.
But she's
John
had
gave a
enough
moment of silence for
already.
Emily after
Her
she
sudden
died at the
illness,
end of the
Randy's
episode.
rejection,
Okay, so
it
they
was
did
also
acknowledge
frightening and humiliating.
She's come through it very well.
the character's death.
Oh, yeah, she put up
Or the
with very
actress's
much.
death.
Coming back to the hospital as a nurse was her first giant step.
Victor's new stooge is from movies and other TV shows.
You could help her get a job at another hospital, couldn't you?
I suppose so, but that's not the problem. Her rejection here, that's what matters.
You haven't rejected her.
No, I didn't reject her, but I sure let her down.
You most certainly did not let her down. You did everything anybody could have done.
Did I, Jesse?
Oh, Steve, now what else could you
We
have
need
done?
like a doctor
Can't blame
friendship like
yourself.
this, in my opinion. And I think they almost had that with like
I wonder.
Elizabeth and Griffin and Elizabeth and Patrick.
Steve, I know how important
That's the
this is
closest
to you.
we've gotten to something like this, but it's
There are times
sorely
when nobody can do
missing
anything.
in today's GH. There's no leading
Believe me, I
doctor
know.
on the show. Oh, Emily had struggled with cancer. I didn't know that. So was Jessie still on GH when the actress passed? 'Cause I know she was on like in the 90s as well, right?
It's awfully good, honey. It's good. I wish you hadn't bothered with lunch. I could just as easily have had a sandwich at the hospital.
Lucy, please let me be just a little useful.
Well, you are useful, but you didn't have to prove it by getting lunch.
Well, I have to do something.
But Michonne needs a strong lead to be chief of
I'm
staff
glad
again,
Dr.
a
Hardy's
relative of
coming
Steve
to see you
Hardy.
this afternoon.
Lucy, I'm not going to change my mind. I couldn't possibly work at General Hospital now.
I know how you feel.
Do you?
Angel, we're
Sure,
talking about
honey.
Emily, the actress that played Nurse Jessie, not Emily, the character.
It's worse. Because I'm afraid I deserve it.
You certainly do not deserve it. Dr. Lyons and Mr. Longworth don't know as much about your work as Dr. Hardy, and he thinks you're very good.
Even though I
I'm
caused
okay,
him nothing but
DG.
trouble.
Oh, now, Audrey, please, honey,
John also
don't.
died of cancer. I didn't know that.
You know, we're lucky.
Man, I really need to
You've licked the
research this.
lymphoma, so you have no place to go but up from now
Yes, I
on.
know. Miss
The
Unlucky,
music,
but
right?
I feel very
I love it.
Well, why not?
Well,
It's
you
just the
know
epitome
why.
of like
Well,
all
maybe
black
because
and
I
white
don't
shows, you
Now,
know?
don't say that. Nobody else feels that way. Nobody else
The
feels
Nurse
that way.
Jessie
Think of all
character.
the people who have faith in
Was she
them.
related to? No, I don't think
spite
she was
of
related to
everything
anybody.
and
I don't
not
think she was
because
ever
of
related to
any
anybody on the show, was she?
No, it's not as bad as it seems.
We have Finn and TJ. I think TJ has the potential
Give
to be
it a
that kind of
little time and you'll
doctor.
feel different.
Oh,
I don't know about Finn. I think they're trying with Finn, but I think TJ would fit the bill a bit more.
You know, it wouldn't hurt you a bit to do nothing for a while. Then you could decide what's best.
Lucy, I decided I was going to try.
But then who
very
would
hard
be
to be a
like-
good nurse to make up for my past failures, like you and Jessie.
The Jessie
Well,
to
honey, if
TJ's.
you really want to be a nurse, there
Steve,
are lots
you know?
of chances. Nurses are needed everywhere.
Well, unless word gets around. that
Emily
they didn't
McLaughlin
want me
died in
at General
91. Okay.
Hospital.
You needn't worry about that. That won't happen.
Oh, Lucy, forget what I'm saying. I'm sorry I'm upset. I'm ashamed of myself, but I can't seem to snap out of it.
You know, you're not the self-pitying type. At least not when you're well. But maybe that's the problem.
Audrey.
Maybe you're not up to
I'd
par
love to
yet.
see her for the
Well, let's
60th, but I
stop
don't
talking
think
about
she
it, shall
will, you
we?
know. She is up there in age. But I wouldn't mind a phone call from her, you know? Oh, Jessie did have characters related to her then. They were written off the show. Mark Hamill played... What?
Audrey,
Mark Hamill was on GH?
don't forget.
How do I not know
Dr.
that?
Hardy and a lot of others want you back at General Hospital.
Well, there are two people who don't, Lucy.
because they don't know you, and Dr. Hardy
Kent
does.
Murray.
Now, he wouldn't want you back if he didn't
Thank
think
you
it
for
was
that
good.
tidbit. Now I gotta find me some clips of Mark
Well, he
Hamill on
likes you
GH.
very much. Well, he is wonderful, Lucy. I don't want to cause him any trouble.
Rachel
I'm
Ames is
terribly
92.
grateful to him as it is.
Well, sure,
Yeah, she's
but
up there in
whatever
age.
he
We
did
did
for
see, we
you, he
did get to
didn't
see her
because
for
he
the
wanted to.
50th, which I was really glad about.
But the
And
only
I think
way I
we've
can
seen
make
her
it up
one
to him
time
is not
since.
let him do anything more.
And you know, in terms of actors, that's as early as we can get is Rachel. But you know, I don't see her wanting to just come in for work. I could show you a pic, but I don't think I can upload it here. That's fair. I could probably find it. Don't worry. After I end the stream, I'll look for it. GH had one set in the 60s. Well, they
Audrey,
definitely showed
I
more. I
think
think
Dr. Hardy
I
still
think
loves you.
like Audrey's house.
So that's what
Maybe
makes it
Steve's
worse, can't
house.
you see that?
why?
Because he knows
But we didn't
how
see a
I feel about
whole lot.
Randy.
It was
That's in
mostly
the
just
past.
GH.
Yes, it's in the past. But it's there.
What do you mean it's there?
Lucy, I
Very early
love
70s.
Randy.
70s
Well,
seems
you
to be
gave
a
him back his
hard,
ring because you didn't tell
like
him
early
to do it.
70s
You
seems to be a hard thing to find for GH.
Well,
Later
anyway,
70s
it's
seems
over.
to be
Yes, it's over, and you're
around
all
and in
through
pretty
with him
decent
for
quality.
good. Yes. So, what are we talking about?
Hospital set was the 7th floor only.
Audrey,
What?
I can't believe you still care
Oh,
for
Lucy,
him.
please, you have to keep talking about it.
No.
Yeah, we were discussing that. They didn't establish Port Charles as New York as the town until the late 70s.
Honey,
Yeah, GH was not shot in the same building
I hate to go and have you
back
feeling like
then
this.
as it is now.
Lucy, I'm
I
a
think
big girl now.
I think where they shoot the show now, that came around in the 80s, right? Yeah, back then the actors wore their own street clothes and did their own hair.
You don't know what time Dr. Hardy will be here this afternoon, do you?
I guess we can be grateful that the budget is definitely bigger than it was in the 60s, you guys. It could be worse, you know, they were doing their own hair and makeup
Maybe he'll help.
and wearing their own clothes.
Lucy, I have to help myself. I'm afraid I'm a little scared.
You needn't be, honey. We all
The doctor's
need someone.
uniforms, nurse. Yeah, well, yeah, of course those would
Don't
be
try to do
provided.
it alone.
Yeah, the name of Port Charles wasn't mentioned until the mid-70s. Oh, I remember seeing a phone book in the patient lounge and it said Port Charles, New York. Interesting.
Coming! Hello, Steve.
Hello, Audrey.
No, GH was filmed in Los Angeles.
That's very nice of you to come by like this.
Well, I
But
would very much
they
see
they
it.
just weren't on the same lot.
Thank you.
Like GH was always filmed in LA, but they weren't filmed in the same building.
Well, this seems to be doing all right, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yes, it's doing fine. Oh, but I forgot to water it today.
Oh.
Can I get anything for you?
No, thank you. I just want to look at you, see how you
Oh, I'm fine. I don't even rate being a convalescent anymore,
are.
do
No,
I?
but you should still take it easy for a while.
Oh, well, I barely stirred today. Sit down, Steve.
Thank you. Audrey, we've missed you at the hospital. Everybody has.
Well, I think it's a better idea that I don't come back to the hospital under the circumstances.
Yeah, always in LA, but different
You know,
studios.
if
Exactly.
I weren't afraid it might make you uncomfortable.
But I think they moved to the
I'd make
studio
it
that they're in
really
now
you come back.
in the
Well, it would
80s.
make me feel uncomfortable because I feel sure that Dr. Lyons and the board of directors would make it very difficult for you.
Well, don't worry about me.
But I do, Steve. And so does Lucy. Even though she'd like me nursing in the same hospital, she feels sure that I've made the right decision.
Well, I won't argue about that for the moment. What plans do you have?
Oh, well, I really haven't made any plans, but I will.
Oh, right before Gloria Monty.
have to-
Okay. So like late 70s. That makes sense.
Audrey, you have all kinds of possibilities, you know.
Nursing.
Oh, I've always thought you were a fine nurse. It's just a question of whether or not you'd enjoy it.
Sorry, guys, my allergies are acting up a little bit.
Well, I think, Steve, the best thing for me would be to do something that would help me forget my past failures.
I don't know of any failures.
Well, I count the mess I had being a nurse being my major failure. That's why I wanted the chance to prove that I could be a good nurse.
So both Rachel and John were very experienced in
Steve,
TV
maybe
before
I could go
GH. John had
someplace
also
else.
been a pro baseball player. I know about the
Would you
baseball
like
thing
to
because
work
they
at
didn't
Western
they
Hospital?
play up to it at the nurses' ball one year.
Any place else.
Well, I know the chief of internal medicine there very well. I'm sure he'd like to have you.
Rachel Ames even played a policewoman
Well,
in
thank
the
you.
50s. Oh, that's cool.
Would you like me to talk to him?
Yeah, Rachel's so gorgeous.
Yes, I think so. If you still believe in me.
Oh, I've always believed in you, Audrey. You know.
Steve, what would I do without you?
John also played a mobster. I could see it. I'd love to find like some of the movies that these guys played in back then.
Well, it really needed the water.
Audrey, I know I don't have any right to say this. You're not entirely well yet, but I can't help saying it. There's another possibility I wish you'd think about.
Another possibility?
I don't want to take advantage of the situation. I mean, because you're grateful or anything.
Steve, I'll always be grateful to you.
Well, I was always hoping that you'd feel differently about me someday.
I care a great deal for you, Steve.
Do you? Enough to marry me? Oh, I know it's much too soon to ask, but it's out now. It's true. Audrey, I want you to know how I feel about you. How I've always felt about you from the very beginning. I still want you to be my wife. I want to share my life with you. I love you. Very, very much. Would you marry me?
Steve.
Well, I'm sure GH would be very different than Isaiah. There we have it, folks. Oh, that was so sweet. All right, let me blow me back up. I think if I can do it. There we go. And mood music. Activate. Actually, hold on. We need this. There we go. Anna Lee, who played Lila, has some beautiful pictures of her entire career on Getty Images. She was so beautiful, and she worked with some of the best actors. She really did. I like today's episode of Korra. That music. Yes, we need Faces of the Heart. We need Faces of the Heart to end this stream, you guys. Give me 1 second. Sorry, y'all. I had to wipe my nose. All right. Is that the remix of the old GH theme song? It sure is. I mean, we can't end GH or the stream in any other way, can we? Mob Story's gone on too long, I agree. Love Faces of the Heart, so romantic and calming. I love the saxophone, first of all. And Dave Coase is just, you know, he's legendary. If you've heard any of his other stuff beyond this, like, his music is beautiful, you guys. Current theme is so weak. I'm hoping to God, DG, that they get a new theme for the 60th anniversary. God, I hope so. I think the most telling thing about how crappy the current GH intro is that whenever an actor is on a talk show, they still use sirens. You know what I mean? Like, they still use the previous theme song from before Frank Valentini's time. Mob was okay before it became the face of the show. Agreed. Even Joe wouldn't allow today's trash theme. True. hated the show for most of the 2000s. That's why I hated the mob for a long time as well. I don't mind it as much because it's not as prominent now, but it's still like, you know, it's still very much present, which is unfortunate. They can tell so many better action storylines without the mob too. Oh, there it is. We'll listen to it one more time before we end the stream, guys. It's a beautiful track, right? It's a sad show called General Hospital that hardly has any main doctors. Yeah, no kidding. The fact that we only really see, like, Deanna and Felix at the nurse's ball is ridiculous. I like that we got to see Felix for Epiphany's episode, though. Because they had a unique friendship when he was around a lot more, too. Had a good time. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the live stream. It's a special occasion. I love General Hospital. You know, I'm glad it's been around for as long as it has. I may have only been watching for like 20 years, but you know, it's 20 great years. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I'm gonna go live this Wednesday. I think we will. I don't think I'm gonna react to anything, like to any clips, unless I find another old thing to watch. But you know, we can check in with each other, talk to each other about how we feel the nurse's ball is going. Love Jason and Sunny at the start, but the repetitious story made me hate them by 2010. I was in the same boat as you, DG. In all honesty, I was. Yeah, and that's the thing. Steve and Maurice are fantastic actors. You know, and great people in real life too. And for me, I mean, I got Maurice. I bought a cameo for Maurice for my grandmother's for Christmas for my grandmother. And you know, I feel like you watch like certain people's cameos because I always have like samples, right? And a lot of them are just like, hey, so-and-so, this person wanted me to say hi to you, so hi, I hope you're having a good day, and blah, 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 and that's it. Maurice went on a whole tangent and just, like, entertained my grandmother. He sang her a song. Like, you know, I got him to mention, like, a friend of my grandmother's as well. Like, he had, like, a full-on, like, 4 or 5 minute conversation for the cameo. Wasn't returning Jason, I don't know. I would have begun watching GH. Interesting. Isaiah said DG specifically from mid-late 2002 throughout the rest of 2000s. Mob focus did seem to amp up prior to 9/11. You know, the thing is, I was born in 1990, DG. But, you know, I was born in 1990. So, I do have, like, faint memories of 90s GH because my grandmother would watch, but you know, a lot of the times I was in school, and you know, when I'd get home from school, it would already be like, you know, almost 4 o'clock, so I'd catch like the end. So like, and you know, my mom and grandmother never taped it and stuff, so I just saw what I saw, and the only times I started to watch GH more was when I was in high school, because I went to Catholic school and it was always done before 3 o'clock, so I'd get home just in time to watch it from the start. I might miss the first like 5 or 6 minutes sometimes, depending on how fast I got out of school, but yeah. Thank God for YouTube. Indeed. Thank God I was, you know, lucky enough, at least in the era of YouTube, that there was so much GH content on YouTube when it first came about, and so that's how I watched a lot of the iconic storylines that we discuss on here. But yeah, the 90s did seem like a special time on GH. I think the whole Jason was mob enforcer angle is what caused the mob thing to really last way too long. They did make Jason pretty invincible. just a jazz version of The Faces of the Heart. There's a lot more saxophone in this version. Well, this is Dave Caw's, like, this was on Dave Caw's album. This is Faces of the Heart. And I think they would play this version on the ending credits. And then the theme song that we hear at the beginning of the show was kind of specifically made for GH and based off of this original. Booza definitely loved Jason for sure. Booza had a hard on for Jason, alright? He was obsessed with that man. Same with Jill. Is the music too loud? Sorry, guys. Did like GH back in the 90s. Really wish they should have kept some of the characters like Jagger. I like that they brought him back for Night Shift Season 2, though. I kind of wish that he stuck around more. And I liked him with the character that they put him with in Night Shift Season 2. I think her name was Syra. They had good chemistry. Oh, you think GH is going to kill it with the drama they are about to bring to the Nurses Ball? I sure hope so. I'm excited. I'm so glad I have tomorrow off, you guys. Although I know for a damn fact it's just going to be the stupid red carpet shit. Like, we might see the Nurses Ball opening act, you know? It's either going to start at the end of tomorrow's episode or the beginning of Tuesday's episode. And if it's Tuesdays, then, you know, I'll just watch when I get home from work. Jagger was Sabrina's cousin. No, Jagger wasn't Sabrina's cousin. You're thinking of Juan Santiago. Jagger was Stone's brother. Juan was Sabrina's cousin. And I don't know, I think... Who did he have ties with? Miguel, right? Did he have ties with Miguel? Was Miguel Juan's father? There we go. Beautiful theme. Beautiful theme. Alright, but on that note, guys, we will end the stream right here. Thanks so much for taking in the GH celebration with me. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Again, I'll be back on Wednesday just to check in to see how everyone's liking the Nurses Ball week on GH and, you know, whatever storylines are surrounding it. Yeah, we'll talk then. And then, of course, Sunday will be another recap show as usual. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Mwah.